Yo, what's up, guys? Sorry, running a couple minutes behind. About 5-6 minutes. But I'm here. I was just out with some friends, and I wasn't driving, so I fell a little bit behind. So who do we have? E-Man, you still with me? I see your comment. S. Fleming, 701. What's up, man? Yo, Caesar, what's going on? So we get some people in here, and we'll start talking about some stuff. Start taking some questions. You know how we do it. I don't come into this with a plan. I'll let you guys dictate what we talk about. Get the camera set up. Tiger prices are crazy. Yeah, did you see my thumbnail? I got the big old tiger on there. What's up, Miami Mike 305, LA 32, Pats 87. Jennifer Gray, you're late. What's up, Bravos? How you doing, man? Ed, what's up? So what do you guys want to start off with? You guys want to start off with some NFL playoffs? My Dolphins, E-Man, our Dolphins got humiliated yesterday. I really don't know what to think about that, but it is what it is. Still a 10-6 season. They're actually talking about should Miami take a quarterback with the number 3 pick. So people are already killing. They're already ready to throw Tua under the blade. StarStock, Anthony, what's going on, man? What's up, Ziggy? How you doing? Yeah, Monday night, man. Not much going on Monday nights. So yeah, Monday night we tried to just get on here and talk about what's been going on all last week. Just kind of recap it. Somebody mentioned Tiger Woods prices going crazy. What do you guys think about that? Chuck, what's going on? The Browns are in. I see the Browns. Yeah, the Browns are in. Why isn't Baker Mayfield and Baker Mayfield cards really getting much love? I don't know. Do people just still doubt his ability? I'm not sure. Yeah, Rosen and Kaiser, Ziggy, I know what you're saying. Football is a tough sell right now unless you got Josh Allen cards. If you're loaded with Josh Allen's and, of course, Patrick Mahomes, what's going on, JPOR, Jason Valentine? Try to say what's up to everybody, but you guys are filling up pretty quick. So if I miss you, I'm sorry. Goat District, what's going on, man? I know people are just really like ready to throw Tua under the bus. Browns versus Steelers, what's the impact on card prices? So firsthand, I can tell you, I've tried to move Roethlisberger all season, and even with the Steelers playing great, and with Roethlisberger being a potential future Hall of Famer, I've had a hard time moving Roethlisberger cards, to be honest. Juju cards were hot at one time, and they've cooled off. There's not really any guy on that offense that just stands out. So from the Steelers standpoint, it's a tough move, even though the team is playing great. Usually winning dictates your saleability in the market. And I feel like with the Steelers, there's not one person that you can just throw up there and be like, hey, I'm going to get a lot of money for this guy, even Ben Roethlisberger. Now, Claypool had a little bit of hype around him, but I believe that's because he was a rookie making a slight bit of an impact. But he definitely wasn't one of the best rookie receivers consistently this year. That would have to go to Jefferson, I believe, from the Vikings. CeeDee Lamb had some good games. T. Higgins played really great. A lot of people don't talk about him. Claypool just had a couple monster games, and if you're a fantasy football player, that tends to stick with you because he may have won you a couple games just based on a couple really standout performances that he had. Nick Chubb again. Nick Chubb's a great running back, but people tend to steer towards the exciting players, and something about Nick Chubb just doesn't seem very exciting, or even the Browns in general. And even if you think about the Browns going all the way back to when they started during the Bernie Kosar days and all the way back to the Jim Brown days, which is ahead of my time, the Browns have just always been one of those teams that are just a grinding team. not super exciting. So a lot of times I can make them a hard team to sell, or a hard players to sell in this market. Lots of hype around Josh Allen right now, though. I see a little bit of a boost coming back into Lamar Jackson cards to get off of the Steelers and the Browns for a short period of time. But Lamar Jackson came in hyped up as much as anybody into this season, and his cards pretty much tanked, I guess, for lack of a better term. They tanked quite a bit. Now with the Ravens coming in with some momentum, people are probably are starting to think, hey, maybe the Ravens can do something and avoid that elimination that they had last year. And Lamar Jackson cards are actually starting to see a little bit of a bump. It's still expensive to get in on Lamar Jackson, but if he pushes through the playoffs and hits back up to that hype that he had coming into the season, you could make some money there. But I believe it's too big of a gamble on Lamar Jackson. Stephon Diggs, though, he's a good sell. I mean, he's basically this year's Michael Thomas, as far as receptions, yards. He's playing with Josh Allen, and with Josh Allen being so popular, his number one guy is going to be popular. Same goes for players like Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill will be popular. Just because if the Chiefs make the Super Bowl again, yeah, normally the quarterback is your MVP if you win. But there's been times when a position player has had such a great game that they've won Super Bowl MVP. A guy like Tyreek Hill could pull something like that off. Now I'm saying it's a stretch, but it could happen. Even a Stephon Diggs, if those guys were to. Okay, Charles, I see this comment. I'm going to pull this up. Charles has been talking about Marvel cards. I'm not sure if he's talked about UFC or not, but Charles has talked about Marvel cards on every live stream. You may have even mentioned it in Facebook group. I'm not 100% sure, but he's been saying he's got the inside scoop on Gary Vee talking about Marvel cards. I have a video coming up. You guys know I do the outside of the box investing stuff. I've been doing a lot of NBA stuff because that's just what people want to see right now. I'm still going to do the outside the box investing stuff, but I'm waiting for some stuff to come in the mail, which I mentioned in my most previous video. I will give you a small preview, just one small preview of the next outside the box investing video. It's right here. Now you can't see the shine because I don't have my light on. Let me see if I can turn the light on. So I can get a little bit of shine on that. Anyway, see a little bit of shine. That's for you, Charles, and your Gary Vee hints that you've been throwing at me. This is my dogs are going crazy. They must love this. But anyway, hey, calm down. But anyway, this is man, I'm about to be invaded, guys. But this is a Carnage, Marvel Metal, Precious Metal Gems Carnage here, numbered out of 199. I went ahead and picked this up. My first Marvel card, other than some old Marvel stuff that I bought way back in the day. But there you go, Charles. If you're looking for some Marvel cards, this is a Carnage. There's I believe there's a movie coming out this summer that's going to involve Venom and Carnage. So I'm picking up some of this stuff. I don't know a lot of the stuff, but yeah, I know a lot of the characters because I used to collect comic books. Hulk Smash, Marvel Masterpiece is a great and pretty rare. Yeah, I don't really know which way to go when it comes to investing in Marvel cards. I just know that Precious Metal Gems is great to have in basketball and other sports because of the rarity of them and the look of them, and they're serial numbered. So I just picked up a couple of these. Here's one of them. You'll see the rest when they get in the mail and I do that video. I know Black Panther is also popular. I know Venom is popular. Yes, this is a Carnage. He is the spawn of Venom. I have a Venom coming, so you'll see a Venom. What's up, Amara? Let's see. Jason Valentine, what's going on? Charleston frat boy in the house. How much was this? How much was this? This Venom Precious Metal Gems? I believe I paid $40 for it. I was showing my friend these just right before we got right before I got to the live stream. I was out with some friends and we talk about cards, and he buys stuff also. He's not, he doesn't do the YouTube and things like me, like I do, but I was telling him I was looking at some Marvel cards, and he actually started looking at some, and he was like, man, and he saw this Carnage, but the only one that he could find was around the $100 mark, I think. I picked this one up for $40. Actually, this one was cheaper than $40. This one was like $10, but I did buy another one, I think, of this exact same card for 40. I have multiples of these, different serial numbers, different colors, but the same card. Yes, you will see a UFC card in my next outside the box investing, but it's not a fighter. I'm not going to tell you who it is, but if it's not a fighter, so you can probably use your own brain and figure out who it is. $1996 Marvel Masterpiece on open boxes. See, I don't know what people chase in Marvel cards because I don't know if there's something considered a rookie. I mean, I know you have the 1990 Marvel Impel set, which is kind of rookies of pretty much everybody. I guess it would be like the 86 Fleer set of Marvel cards. And then it has 5 rare hollows in the set as well, if anything is rare from that date. But coming from the 90s. But and I also know there's other things out there that people like just because they like the art and the look. A lot of times, I guess when it comes to comic books, that really determines the value. As Fleming 701, yeah, you say Dana White. Yes, I got a Dana White card. That's what I do have, is a Dana White card, and I'll tell you why in that video. Barbed Wire. I remember that movie, man. Didn't Pamela Anderson play in that? I believe Pamela Anderson was playing in a movie called Barbed Wire. Car Collector, what's going on, man? Did you receive your package, man? I wasn't sure. I know you don't live actually too far from where I'm at, so I'm hoping you received your mail by now. If not, I mean, I know the Postal Service is running pretty far back. Guys, if you want any of my Christmas live stream giveaways, most of that stuff has been mailed out. There may be 2 items that still need to go out, but I've tried to do my best to get the stuff mailed out at a decent time frame with the holidays and such. So hopefully some of you received your packages by now, and there may be 2 or 3 of you that I'm still got them packaged up and got to get them out, guys. I'm sorry, but I am getting them out as fast as I can. Okay, StarStock. Let's get back into the sports cards. Thoughts on using StarStock for another sport besides basketball? Yeah. If you're comfortable with investing in any other sports, whatever sports you're comfortable investing in, StarStock is a good platform. There's a lot of things, though, that I can see hurting StarStock as far as the prices that they have going on there right now. Let me turn this light down a little bit. There we go. But you can use it for baseball, but remember, baseball just isn't going to see the spikes that basketball sees. You can use it for football. If you want to buy up some football cards in the offseason and stash them. The thing that I see happening with StarStock right now, StarStock A, the StarStock soft graded A cards, they draw really high premiums. You can go on StarStock and you can just see what some of these guys are selling for in basketball, like Colin Sexton Rawls for $80 is just really crazy. I can see as more and more, and I've noticed this in my selling as well, as more and more people get their cards on the StarStock, you're going to have more and more seller competition, and you're going to have people who aren't patient. And when people aren't patient with sales and, patient with getting market value or current StarStock value, they will start to undercut. And with undercutting could lead to more undercutting, to leading more undercutting, where people just tend to start killing each other's profits off. I've seen it happen where, for instance, I've had Cameron Johnson prisms listed, and I've listed them a little pricey in a StarStock A for like $32. And I've seen where they've gotten up to 31 bucks, and I'm like, okay, mine are going to be the next to sell. And then you'll see someone come in and list them at like 28 or 27 because they're willing to get a quick sale. And so they're killing the market, the StarStock market value by undercutting other sellers. And I can see with the more and more people coming into StarStock and more cards hitting the platform and more people willing to make a quick dollar as opposed to holding out for what the actual market is on that card, that they can start undercutting each other, just like on eBay when people all want to dump at the same time. That will bring down some of these crazy StarStock A values. That's just something I see in the future. Hopefully it's not too extreme. From a seller standpoint, it will benefit the buyers. But of course, the buyers on StarStock are looking to resell. There's not many people that I think are actually buying on StarStock right now that are going to get their cards and ask to have them sent home because they want them. I think a lot of people on StarStock are looking to buy and relist. Very rarely, there may be a small percentage of people who actually buy them, want to bring them home and get them graded themselves. But I think it's more of a buy and relist at a higher price platform. And it's going to hurt that for sellers, the more and more people who send their own cards in, as opposed to buying someone else's and relisting it for a higher value. If that makes any sense. StarStock, yes. Baseball. Card collector, yes. StarStock baseball is starting to go up. People are starting to get in on the baseball card market because they want to get in early enough to make profits. I believe a lot of people have the taste in their mouth of what happened with the football card market, of how football took off so quickly before the season started that people missed out on a lot of players. So people don't want that to happen with baseball. So they're buying up baseball cards now. You're starting to see Tatis and Soto, like the two top young dogs. You notice I left Acuna out because he did struggle last year, and Tatis kind of took that next level. You're looking at Tatis and Soto prices are already starting to go up because people don't want to miss the bus on those guys. So if you want to get in on, if you have a couple baseball players that you like as investment targets, okay, and I'm not going to throw any of mine out there, but that you like as investment targets, now, between now and a week or two from now would probably be the best time to get in. Come February, people are going to start buying baseball because you're going to start talking about winter training and winter meetings and things like that. It's going to start generating some buzz. So the window to buy baseball is opened right now. So get into that window before it closes, by mid-February probably, when I believe the majority of the people are going to get in. May have missed some comments here because I got talking a lot. Oh, yeah, card collector. I threw that Iverson in just because I know you were a Sixers fan. And, it's not always about making money. Sometimes it's about someone enjoying a card. So I went ahead and threw that Iverson in for you because I knew you liked the Sixers. Yeah, JPO art, that is in the mail. That is on the way. That is definitely one of the packages that has been out. So if you haven't received it yet, it should be there shortly. All right, Glenn, this is a question I've been getting a lot since I put in I did a StarStock video, guys, and it was mainly a way on how you submit your cards, how you fill out a form and how you ship it in. I didn't go into a lot of details on that. Uploading cards to StarStock, it's really going to depend on how far behind they are backlogged. They like to give a 2 to 3 week window. They like to say, hey, it could take 2 to 3 weeks. However, they do give you a conservative window. They don't want to say, okay, it's going to be 3 weeks and then it end up being 4 or 5 weeks. They're not PSA, where PSA says, all right, it's going to be 20 days and it's 4 months. Okay. They're giving you 3 weeks. They're saying 2 to 3 weeks. However, it could be 1 week. So they're giving you a safe estimate because they want to deliver on their upload times, basically. So, and it not necessarily will your whole order go all in at once. So if you send in 50 cards, don't think you're going to look up there one day and all 50 of your cards be in. they may go in 10 at a time. You may see 10 of your cards hit StarStock or 15 of them, and they'll come in increments. So if you see 10 of your cards go up and not the other 40, if you sent in 50, don't be worried and be like, hey, I sent in 50 cards. What the crap? Did they lose them? Just they will enter them in. You'll start to see them showing up in your collection randomly. Very well said, Charleston Frat Boy. Yeah, lack of patience leads to race to the bottom. So when you start seeing people undercutting and undercutting, I actually don't list when I see stuff like that happening. Where do we leave off? Let me see. Yes, Ed, competition is good for the buyer. However, if you're a buyer looking to resell, it's a double-edged sword. So, yeah, you can buy cheaper, but when you go to flip, you're going to get less. I don't think it'll go flat because of the undercutting. Another way to look at it is if you're having more sellers coming into the market on StarStock, you're probably also having more buyers coming in. So the supply and demand can pretty much balance each other. I'm not 100% sure if that's how it'll work, but say for instance, for every, I was buying on StarStock long before I was submitting my own cards. And I'm going to guess that was the case probably with a lot of people. I'm going to guess for every person sending in cards, because sending in cards can be a pain in the butt, packaging and sending in. Some people just want to buy and relist, and they'll buy other people's cards and relist them as opposed to sending in their own cards. So I would maybe say maybe 1 in 5, maybe 1 in 5 StarStock users actually send their cards in. So I could say, and I'm just throwing that figure out there. I could be completely wrong. But if that's the case, then you're looking at, 5 buyers to every person, who's sending cards in to be sold. So the supply and demand could balance each other in that aspect. Oh, I see a question coming up from Matt Jensen, and I'm going to address that. What do I think of Jordan Alvarez as an investment? Gerald, I'm not a huge baseball guy. I know that he's a good player. Baseball's tough. To me, he'll probably get some numbers. He's going to have to generate some kind of excitement factor. And even though he wasn't part of the Astros cheating scandal, he's still in an Astros uniform. To me, it doesn't hurt him as bad as it hurts like a Bregman or something like that, but people are still always going to look at that. Okay, Matt, you say you remember when I was selling Josh Allen Prism PSA 10s for $250, and you were selling and you were getting like 5x, but do I regret it now? No, I don't regret it. One tip that I give people when they sell is to never look back with regret, because then you will get in the habit of holding everything. I mean, I could also say that I was selling Lamar Jackson at $1,000 to $1,200. And now, and if I didn't sell Lamar Jackson at $1,200, I would now be holding him at $600 to $700. So, it works both ways. It balances each other out. Yeah, I sold Josh Allen early, and I could have maximized my profits if I held. However, I sold Lamar Jackson at the perfect time, and if I would have held, I would have cost myself profits. So that's just the way that I look at it. I don't look back with regret, because then I'll get in the habit of holding on to everything, and I will never sell. That's my philosophy. When I was buying Josh Allen's, I mean, they weren't even $100. I mean, they were $40. I literally remember buying PSA 10 Prism Josh Allen's for $39.99 was the exact price. And I can even tell you they were coming from Canada. I remember paying the shipping fees, but it was $39.99 for a PSA 10 Prism. I'll take that $250 on that all day, because I also look at the stuff that I was able to buy with that $250. Earlier this year, last year now, 2020, I bought a LeBron James card for $500, and I sold it for 3,500. Okay, a couple months after I sold that LeBron James card, it actually had an eBay sale of $10,000. And I looked at that and I was like, oh my goodness, I sold this card, 3 months ago for 3,500, and now it's a $10,000 card. But I looked at the stuff that I bought with that LeBron James money and that inventory that I had, and it far outweighed the $7,000 that I didn't get by, holding on to that LeBron. So I never look back with regret. If I do, I'll get in the habit of holding on to everything. And any profit is a good profit. Again, this has happened with me recently. I sold Colin Sexton PSA 10 Prism. I sold it for a little bit under $500. I bought it for 160. So I made good profit on it. However, if I would have held it, I might be getting $900, $900 for it now. But that's fine. I took that profits from that Colin Sexton and I put it into a bunch of Darius Garland silver prisms. And so in the end, I'm going to end up making that money anyway because Garland cards are hot as well. All right, Chuck, you're from the AFC North. Just check your Instagram. Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to send those package out. If you're in on the packs and the breaks, that's the ones that I haven't sent out yet because I send out all the singles and stuff because I was having a hard time trying to keep up with who had which divisions and which packs and stuff like that because there wasn't really one monster hit. So it was kind of hard to track it all. Brandon Lowe is an investment. I mean, will he ever be hotter than he was in the World Series? I'm not sure. I can't give you an honest answer because if you would have asked me this last year, I would have probably said probably not. And then you would have missed out on the World Series and the playoff run that he had with Tampa Bay. And then, some of these baseball guys are super hard to predict because they don't come straight from the draft into the major leagues. With basketball and football, these guys come from the draft. They're first-round picks. They come into the NFL. You expect them to produce immediately. In baseball, these guys are drafted. They go into minor league systems, and then they may not be heard of for a couple years. So it's hard to say, hey, this guy is going to be a superstar or not. But even with baseball just doesn't spike like basketball and even football does. It's a longer season. People go through slumps. People start hot. The thing I would ask you to ask yourself about Brandon Lowe is, do you think he's got star potential? Because if you're a fantasy sports player, you know that the stars always get their numbers. They always get their numbers. If there's a baseball player who averages 30 home runs a season, he's going to get his 30 home runs a season. Now, he may start out before the All-Star break and be total crap and have 10 home runs, but he's going to turn it on at the end of the season and get his 20. Or he could start out of the gates on fire with 20 home runs through the first couple months, but he's going to cool off and catch a slump, and he's going to end with his 30. In baseball and even in football, the stars always get their numbers. If you were to look at somebody's stat line through the prime of their careers, their stats are going to always be similar throughout those years. Whether they start hot and end cold or cool off, or start super cold and heat up, their numbers are always going to be there in the end. So ask yourself, is Brandon Lowe a star? Is he going to get his numbers? Jaylen Brown Select Tricolor for $10 a few months ago. It's now $100. Is that raw? Because I have a Jaylen Brown Select Tricolor in an SGC 10 that I bought for $3 at a card show and sent in. I'm not really sure what the value on it is right now. Okay, so because we're talking about some Devil Rays guys, what's happened to Austin Meadows? Can anybody tell me? Austin Meadows was the guy that was pumped up and kind of thought to be a breakout superstar on the horizon, the poor man's Mike Trout. And I know he's gone through some injuries and stuff. But any of you baseball guys out there, let me know what's going on with Austin Meadows. When will I start investing in football during the offseason? I will start investing in a couple guys probably right after the Super Bowl. It'll vary. It'll vary on who I'm looking for. I will start investing in a couple guys right after the Super Bowl. I will invest around the draft, like right before the draft. I will try to guess on who teams are going to pick because it has a lot to do with values of cards. I did very well on Drew Lock and Dak Prescott this year, who were two guys that didn't live up to their expectations for different reasons. Dak was hurt and Drew Lock just didn't get it done. But I picked up a lot of their cards based on the fact that I thought that they would draft top-notch rookie receivers. And when Denver drafted Jerry Jeudy and when Dallas drafted CeeDee Lamb, that night of the draft, both of those quarterbacks' price went through the roof, and I sold all my shares. Besides 2 optic PSA 10 Dak Prescotts I still have, but I sold all my prisms and about 4 optics. And I sold all 3 of my prisms. I had 2 PSA 10s and 1 SGC 10 of Drew Lock, and I dumped all of them after the night of the draft because they shot up just due to their draft, the players that the teams drafted. So you can try to guess, look at some mock drafts, look at who you think the team needs are going to be, and you may miss. They may not draft that guy that you think, but that's a good time to invest around the draft. And it also is a time when hype is generated around the NFL, and it's a good time to sell. People are thinking about their teams. They're pumped up about their teams, and they just drafted the new shiny receiver. This is awesome. I'm going to go out and buy this. So that's a good time to sell. So come in a couple weeks before the draft on some players. Look at some players after they get eliminated from the playoffs this year and even after the Super Bowl. Believe it or not, Patrick Mahomes was a better investment last year after the Super Bowl than before the Super Bowl. His Super Bowl card or the Super Bowl championship was baked into his rookie cards before he even won it. And then after he won it, there was no buzz because he was expected to do it. And his cards actually saw a small dip after February. And then they just shot up because people started predicting about what he was going to do this season. Let me pull this one up here. Do I think StarStock is growing too slow since right now they have mostly only except rookie cards and missing out on customers looking for cards other than rookie cards? Honestly, I like the fact, for me personally, I like the fact that StarStock only deals in rookies. If I want to look for specialty cards or limited cards, parallels, inserts and stuff like that, eBay is the place that I would rather go do that for. Because to be honest, eBay right now, you're getting better prices, especially on raw cards. If you go look at a raw card of, say, John Morant and a Prism and a StarStock A, it's going to be a lot more money than if you were to buy it raw off eBay. That pretty much goes across the board for all players. So I don't want my inserts because a lot of times inserts and things like that are PC cards. They're not necessarily investment cards. A lot of times they're PC cards. So I don't want my PC cards to be driven up by StarStock A prices for me. All right, I got to pull this up here, Robert. Robert is LMAO. Man, I don't know what you're laughing at. Are you laughing at me, man? Did I say something dumb? Let me know if I said something dumb. Robert, I think Robert actually won a card off me in an eBay auction. That was crazy. I just got done packaging up a card that he won off me, that he won in a live stream, and then I sold a card on eBay, and I was like, wait a minute, this is the same person in the same address. Didn't even know it. But what are we laughing at, man? I want in. Oh, I knew this was coming. When Keldon Johnson started putting up some good games, you're one of the first people that I thought of, JPO Art, because not just you, but a lot of people have talked about him. But I know you have talked about Keldon Johnson a lot. I even think I saw you on the Personal Finance Dad with Dustin, and I believe you were talking about Keldon Johnson on his channel as well. So I know that you have been in on Keldon Johnson in the beginning. Even when I mentioned Lonnie Walker a week or two ago, you were still all over Keldon Johnson. So kudos to you to being in on him. I wasn't in on him very early, not because I didn't like his ability or his talent, but just because you can't invest in everybody. You can make a list of 10 people that you think have potential, but you got to choose your select 3 or 4 that you want to go in on. So Keldon Johnson just wasn't in my top 4. He was in my top 10, but he wasn't necessarily in my top 4. So, I just didn't buy a lot of Keldon Johnson. I have about 5 of his selects, and that's about as far as it goes for me. But I do know that you have been talking about his stuff a lot. All right, so Ziggy says he's talking to Tony. I don't want StarStock to be another ComC, and if they accept more than processing will slow and storage will cost money. Yeah, I like the rookie card platform. It keeps it simple. It keeps it, you're chasing rookies. You're buying them. You're buying them now, and an hour from now you're selling them. I mean, literally, I have bought cards and flipped them 15 minutes after I bought them because they're rookie cards. They're rookie prisms, and you can sell a rookie card of almost anybody. However, it's hard to sell an insert of almost anybody. So, when you're selling inserts, you're talking about your top dog players and the players that people collect. I just heard that PSA is backed up to 6 million cards. Have you heard? I can't verify that. I don't know. Last time I heard it was about like 3.5. Wouldn't surprise me if it was at 6 million. Right now, to be honest, I haven't sent in any submissions. I have 2 submissions out right now. Everything that I'm buying raw right now, I'm pretty much selling raw. Buying raw and selling raw is becoming more popular because if you're buying young basketball players right now and you want to get them graded, you're not going to get them back until the season's over. And that's not going to do you a whole lot of good. So, the most of the stuff that I would be submitting would be my long-term stuff, maybe football stuff for next season, believe it or not. Out-of-the-box stuff, long-term holds, soccer. Soccer is a good send-in right now because you have Euros coming up and World Cup in a year. I don't know if SGC is going to start normal operations back up. This is something that could help SGC maybe. We need more options. However, people are still not going to go to SGC if the value of their cards doesn't increase on the secondary market. But that is a byproduct of us. All of us consumers, buyers, sellers, investors, flippers, that's all on us because we're the ones that are still buying PSA and not buying and buying and pushing the other cards. But yet we sit back, and me, myself, guilty as well. We sit back and we say, man, SGC should have more value. However, when I go to buy a card, I always look for PSA first. So, all of us are guilty of it, and it would take a community as a whole to push another grading company, whether that be BGS, SGC, or whoever is just coming in, the comic book grading company. I can't remember if it's like CGC or whatever they're called. But anyway, it would take everybody as a whole to push another grading company to give us more options because people are looking for secondary value, and they're always going to go with PSA if that's where the value is at, unless Gary V popped up one day holding a stack of SGC cards. He did have some SGC cards in his last post because I caught that. I was evaluating that picture, and not only was I looking at the cards themselves that he was holding, but one thing that took me back was I was like, wait a minute, he's got 2 SGC slabs in there. So don't know how many people caught that, but anyway. Let me see. We got flea market mixtape. I'll take Watson over Lamar. The problem with Watson, he signed an extension with Houston. That kills any long-term value, in my opinion, that he has. I was heavy on Deshaun Watson coming in to last season. I was buying his prisms in a PSA 10 in March. And I went to a card show and bought all the PSA 10s that I could find when they were only like $125 a piece. And I flipped them all around the $600 mark and didn't look back. And I'm glad that I did. He re-signed with Houston. If he would have became a free agent, no telling what kind of prices his cards could have hit. But as long as he's in Houston, his ceiling will always be limited because that team's just bad. And Houston Texan fans do not buy many cards. They're just not a big market, especially when it comes to the hobby. He's a great player. I'm not taking away from his talent on the field or anything. I'm just talking about his investment potential. Do you see him winning a Super Bowl with Houston to add to his legacy? Because stats and numbers are great, but he doesn't have any record-breaking stats, and I don't see a future or a Super Bowl in his future with Houston. Tony, man, Tony has been on the bowl kick for a long time. Tony, I don't know what it is. I just don't know if they're going to play him. I just don't know. Even with Michael Porter being out for COVID, you kind of thought that there was a glimmer of hope of Bol getting some minutes, and I feel like he got less minutes last night. I don't know what it is. I don't know if they just don't want to put him out there, if they're trying to develop him slower. Man, I don't know. I have 0 shares of Bol. I have 0 shares of Jamal Murray, and he's been killing it. However, I have been getting in on some Jokic cards. I just like his potential. And I'm trying to buy some Jokic cards before they hit Kawhi/Giannis prices. And you guys might call me crazy, but if he pushes for an MVP and they push deep into the West with his limited amount of graded cards on the market and his European and international appeal, Jokic prisms could push that maybe not Giannis prices, but they could push, that in a PSA 10. I wouldn't be surprised if they push $2,000. Am I buying football before playoffs? Probably not. Probably selling, because the moment that your guy that you're invested in is eliminated from the playoff picture, his cards are going to tank. So do you want to gamble and risk them pushing deep, or do you want to sell now into the hype? Because it's a whole new season. You have the regular season, and you have the hype generated coming into the regular season. Once that hype is gone around week 5 or 6 and things start to pan out in the NFL and you see who's pretenders and who's contenders, then you start pushing towards the playoffs. And as you come into the playoffs, it starts all over again. Now you got the hype going into the playoffs. Now, do you want to sell these guys into the playoff hype in the hopes, and regardless of what happens, you've sold into the hype and you've made some money? Or do you want to gamble that they're going to be in an AFC or if they're going to be in a conference championship or a Super Bowl? That's where you got to start weighing, your risk reward factors. If you think they're in a conference championship or a Super Bowl, there's a couple of players you might want to buy or hold and then sell. Most of these guys that are going to the playoffs, if you're buying now, you're buying at a premium, which puts your risk high and your reward low. So for me personally, if I was holding a guy like Ryan Tannehill, I would sell him now. If I was holding Phillips Rivers rookies, I would probably sell them now, even though he has a good career behind him. So ask you, who are your favorites? How far do you think Josh Allen can go? Can Josh Allen win? Can the Bills win the Super Bowl this year? Or do you sell Josh Allen now while he's at it, why he's at this peak right now, or do you think that peak can get a little bit higher? Certain players like that. There's other players you don't have to worry about. You don't have to worry about Russell Wilson. He's not going to go down regardless of what happens. Drew Brees isn't going to go down regardless of what happens. Who cares about the Washington football team? There's no guys on there that you want to collect or invest in. Just other various teams. Aaron Rodgers, again, if he wins another Super Bowl, his stuff is going to, just going to go through the roof. Same with Drew Brees, same with Russell Wilson. But if they lose and are eliminated, is it really going to hurt these guys? Probably not, because they're future Hall of Famers already. But a guy like Josh Allen, if he wins a Super Bowl, his stuff will shoot through the roof. But if he's eliminated in round one, his stuff is probably going to take a 30 to 40% hit going into the offseason. So I would say, everybody has their favorites on who they think is going to win or going to lose. And based on what you're holding, just weigh your risk versus your reward and see where you stand and make that decision on who you want to sell. I'm not necessarily really buying anybody going into the playoffs, because the playoffs are set, the hype is built, and all those people have that baked into their cards. Pokemon. I don't really have any thoughts on Pokemon. I'm not familiar with Pokemon at all. The only reason I even have any is because I just had some from years ago. Was never really a player of the game. Never really, I guess I was a bit of a collector, but not a collector to where I even really knew what I had. Just thought they were neat, kind of trendy at the time. They're trending again now. I haven't heard as much about them lately as I had heard, maybe 3 to 4 weeks ago. So I don't know if the market on Pokemon is cooling off, especially with the NBA starting up. That could be one thing. I'm hearing a lot of NBA right now. Pretty much the NBA starting up has kind of put everything else on the back burner, except for maybe NFL playoffs, which is a good buying opportunity for other things that aren't being talked about. However, it's hard to steer yourself off of the NBA path because it's so hot right now that you don't want to put your money anywhere else because you're scared you're going to miss the next big player in the NBA. Watson will have a big surge in value sooner than later. Personally, I've seen his surge. Like I said, I was part of it when I was buying him for $125 and selling him for over $600. To me, that was a big surge. I don't know what is going to make his card go over $600 again. You have to ask yourself, what can make Deshaun Watson prisms go over $600? What can do that? 4,000 yards and 30 touchdowns? No, because he's done that. A league MVP? Well, do you see him as a top 5 MVP contender in the future? As long as Patrick Mahomes is in the league and Aaron Rodgers is still playing and Josh Allen coming in and Russell Wilson still playing and all these guys, it's tough to win a league MVP. It's not an easy thing to do. Even Tom Brady is still playing at elite level. So, it's easy to say that you're going to see a surge, but you have to have something to back up the fact that you feel a surge coming, because I don't see Houston being a very successful team, in the near future, unless they make some major changes. I would have seen a huge surge in Deshaun Watson cards, like I said, if he would have remained a free agent. And there would have been rumors about him maybe going to New England or signing, with a big market team. That would have caused a huge surge, probably a 4X easily on his cards. But right now, I just don't see anything in the chart of when I look at a player who's due for a surge in cards. You can't say a breakout season because his breakout seasons are behind him. He's already broken out. He's already a superstar. But what pushes him to the next level? And then you look at the things and say, can he reach those things that push him to the next level? I don't see the Super Bowl. I don't see the MVP. And unless he's dealt to another team, you can put up all the fantasy stat lines that you want, but it's not going to cause a surge in your cards. It doesn't take anything away from his talent or him being a great player. Let's see, where did I leave off? Talking about the Saints in here. Talking about Dustin must pick up Winston since Breeze is retiring after this year. But what about Taysom Hill? Is he going to stay there? Saints QB room are really interesting next year. Is Breeze going to retire? Is that official? Am I picking up any Ronaldo or Mbappe? Seems like a nice time to get in on some soccer. Is a lot is down from the summer. Okay, so soccer. Here's the thing. Here's my take on soccer, and I got heavy in on soccer. I got in before the first major boom. Everything is down. However, it's not down to original starting levels. So you can say that soccer is down from its peak, but you can't say that it's down from its starting point. So overall, it's not down if you got in at the right time. And everything comes down from its peak. That's why there's such thing as a peak. If things never came down, there would never be a peak. Now Ronaldo and Mbappe, let's see, they'll both be in the Euros, so that'll be good. It depends on what you're looking at. Are you looking at prisms? Because the prisms came way down on both players, and I still think that the prisms are a good buy. And I know that there's a lot of them printed, a lot of them being sent in to be graded. But when the Euros and the World Cup starts, people are still going to gravitate to what they know and to what is the easiest, and that's always going to be prism. It's just easy to understand. It's easy to know. I myself have done a lot of soccer research, and I've gone back and I bought older stickers because I think it's fun, and I think the old rookie stickers and stuff are awesome. But to the general collector, the general person who wants to buy a Ronaldo card because everybody knows who, CR7 is, they're going to buy the prism right now because basketball is hot. Soccer was super hot because no other sports were being played except for soccer. People had to have something to gravitate to. So they moved to the soccer market, and it's cooled off at all the other sports. It immediately cooled off when the bubble started back up. When basketball started back up for the playoffs, soccer immediately turned to ice. But it will come back with the Champions League. It will come back with the Euros. It will come back with the World Cup. It may never see the prices that it saw at one time. But, I mean, honestly, ask yourself, did those prices seem right? Did it seem right that you should be paying $4,000 for a PSA 10 Messi prism? That just wasn't right. The market had to adjust itself. So people who sold then, kudos to them because that was the smart time to sell. I do think that those prisms have come down to a point now to where it's actually a good buying point. Do I look at some of those prism as long-term holds? Maybe not. That might be a card that you want to buy in now, sell back into the Euro and World Cup hype, and try to get yourself some legitimate rookie cards and stickers and old rare stuff of these soccer players. The rare stuff to me is what's good. The rare stuff is what's always will be hard to find. I mean, you can get a 2014 Prism Messi first World Cup card, or you can get a 2006, which is just 2 years off his rookie sticker and a PSA 9. There's less than 20 of these in the pop report as opposed to thousands of the Prism, and you can almost get them for the same price. To me, this is just a better pickup. Even if you're talking Ronaldo, the same thing applies to the Ronaldo and a PSA 9 on the sticker. Now I do got the prisms. This is a 9.5 true gem. However, I would choose the sticker over the prism any day of the week. But I would also rather go back and just get old stickers and rookies of guys. You guys know my favorite is Robert Lewandowski. This is a rookie sticker. His first card is a 2016 Euro Prism. This is a 2008 Panini Polish sticker, Poland sticker. So, you know, these rare ones are the ones in the end when collectors come looking for stuff. You know, 1978 Zico. You know, when people come looking for stuff, these are the things they're not going to find. 2010, the rookie year, Neymar. This is prior to the 2014 Prism. This is in a PSA 9. These black border cards, you're not going to find these. Whenever you can find these, you know, for a good deal on eBay, I would much rather snag cards like these up than Prisms for long term. But if you're talking about Ronaldo and Mbappe in the short term, I would just look into their Prisms, buy them while they're cheap right now, flip them in the Euros and the World Cup, use some of that money and try to go back and buy yourself some nice vintage pieces if that's what you're looking to collect in soccer. What's this? Going back to 2018, we traded up to draft the Marcus Davenport when we could have drafted Lamar Jackson at that spot. You know how many people passed on Lamar Jackson, though? How many quarterbacks were taken? Was he the last quarterback taken in the first round? Was he the fifth? You guys had a quarterback. The best year for Marvel cards, I really don't know. I'm just now starting to look into the Marvel card market. I'm just looking at rare numbered stuff because that just seems to be, hey, if it's numbered, it'll make it more collectible. I know that 1990 Impel had a set, and that's going to be a lot of your first Marvel prints. There's a cool Stan Lee card in there that draws some attention, and there's 5 hollows that were issued in that set that also draw some attention. But I myself, I can't give you a whole lot of advice on Marvel cards. I'm looking at the Fleer Precious Metal Gems from, this one's a 2017. Just because precious metal gems in basketball and stuff draw lots of money. So why not in Marvel cards if it ever became popular? Oh my goodness, we have YouTube celebrity status. What's up? Brad, comeback card investor. Just wanted to say, hey man, hey, thanks for popping in the stream, man. Awesome to have you here. I'm guessing in the chat, guys, you guys are talking about second year stuff. Does not hold long-term value. It only will on your top star players. Guys that are just so expensive to buy in rookies. You know, LeBron stuff will hold. Giannis stuff may hold. Kawhi stuff might hold. Newer stuff like Luka, I wouldn't be buying 2019 prisms of Luka. I just wouldn't. 2018 is his rookie. 2019 is his second year. Same with Tatum. It turned into second year cards. If you're going back vintage and you're buying 1981 tops, Larry Birds and Magic Johnsons, that's a great second year buy. If you're buying an 87, 88 Fleer, Michael Jordan, that's a great second year buy. But when you're buying a 1920 prism of Luka as a second year card, 2019, 2020, 1920 prism of Luka second year, it's to me it's too early to buy into someone like his second year cards. This is a good question because I've been high on the Upper Deck Shaqs from 92. The trade card, you got the 1B, you have the 1A. For me personally, I've been buying the 1A. I have nothing against the 1B. The pop reports on both of those and a PSA 10 is extremely, extremely, extremely low. The 9s are even low. And I believe that those cards, you can get the 1A probably between $200 and $300 in a PSA 9. And a PSA 10 is going to set you back like $3,000. So just look at the difference between a 9 and a 10 there. You're talking about $250 on average for a 9 and $3,000 for a 10. Now, I know that there's very few 10s and there's quite a few 9s. And so you can't really apply that. A 9 should be worth at least 33% of a 10 or 25% of a 10. But it's still just way too undervalued, especially when you look at the price of some of these younger players. You can be like, oh, well, Shaq played. His cards are from the junk wax era. Luka is going to have 25,000 plus PSA 10 prisms. Shaq, PSA 9 upper decks are still below like 9,000, probably well below that. So you can't tell me, and there's less, and there's way more 9s than there is 10s. Luka has way more 10s than there is 9s. There's something wrong with that picture. So I don't want to hear the argument that Shaq is from the junk wax era when he still has less 9s than Luka has 10s. That's a long thing that I've talked about for a long time. Oh, what happens to KBJ's market? I get more questions. There's probably 5 players that I could name that I get tons of questions about. This guy is one of them. I'm going to do a video tomorrow, another flip, skip, or grip video. He's going to be in there. So watch that video to see where I put him. Am I flipping him? Am I buying him? Am I skipping him altogether? Watch that video tomorrow. I'm going to talk about KPJ. Watson will not be better unless he leaves the Texans. That's it. And unfortunately, I believe that's the harsh truth. He's a great player with victim of circumstance. I mean, look what they did. They took his number, they took his best player away from him this year, and expected the team to be better. I mean, how do you take away DeAndre Hopkins from your offense and expect your quarterback and your team to be better? Just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I don't know what they're doing there in Houston. I don't know what he was doing signing an extension with them. He could have got whatever he wanted on any team looking for a quarterback. But, you know, unfortunately for us hobbyists, he's stuck in Houston. Guys, I accidentally skipped by a whole bunch of comments, so I'm trying to scroll back. Okay. How about Dak when he gets back? They have nice core. If you're looking to buy Dak Prescott, guys, I'd buy him now. Plain and simple. If you want to buy Dak Prescott, buy him now. You have a lot of questions going into the NFL playoffs right now. Should I buy these guys in the playoffs? Should I sell these guys in the playoffs? Should I buy any of these rookies that have just been eliminated? You know, should I buy Justin Herbert? Should I sell Tua Tagovailoa? All these people are talking about, we're talking about Deshaun Watson, for Christ's sake. We haven't mentioned Dak Prescott. If we're not talking about Dak Prescott, that means it's the perfect time to buy him because nobody's talking about him. That means his prices are down. Oh, I got to pull this comment up. It just says no shit. You guys must be talking to each other in chat, which is cool. Who would I rather buy, CMC or Barkley at running back? Man, Bravos, I'm not going to recommend either one of them, to be honest. I think we saw the peak of Christian McCaffrey cards this year. His Prism in a PSA 10 pushed like the $800 mark. I don't think it'll ever get there again, regardless of what he does. because his stats can't get any better. Okay. He's had 1,000 rushing, 1,000 receiving. His stats can't get any better. It's another situation where he's stuck in Carolina. Unless you see them being a Super Bowl contender or you see him winning an MVP from the running back position, Derrick Henry will do that before any other running back does. Then his cards have peaked. So it's all about price point at the buy-in. That's the complete answer to this question. Christian McCaffrey or Saquon Barkley, it's going to completely revolve around their price point. Whoever is the cheapest buy out of the two as far as your risk reward, because where Christian McCaffrey has peaked at, you don't know where Barkley can peak at, because his cards got hot, he immediately got hurt. Okay, and he was only in the league. This was only going to be his third year in the league. So we haven't seen him put up a gigantic season, and he's on a bad team, but he's in a bad division, a team that is terrible and almost made the playoffs last night if the Eagles didn't intentionally tank that game. And but he's not playing. So Barkley being out all year, there will be some hype about around Barkley returning next year and what can he do. However, I don't see that same hype around Christian McCaffrey, because we know what he can do. And can he go out and have 1,000 and 1,000 again? It's highly unlikely. So from a stat line perspective, it's going to be hard for Christian McCaffrey to live up to his hype. And from a stat line perspective for Barkley, we just don't know. So you're going to have to look at price point and just be like, where's my risk reward at? On both of these guys, they're not on contending teams. I would tend to probably put my money elsewhere, maybe into a receiver or a running back on a contending team if you're looking for position players. Now, if you're looking for quarterbacks, that's a different ball game. But if you're looking for position players, I would probably look for a different running back, somebody under the radar on a team that's on the verge of moving up the ladder, or a receiver with a good young quarterback that's going to get a lot of attention because the young quarterback is throwing him the ball. I mean, you could look into a guy like T. Higgins for a fraction of the price that these superstars that we're looking at, and he was having a great rookie season until Joe Burrow got hurt. When Joe Burrow comes back, there's going to be a lot of chemistry between those guys. They're both rookies this year. They're both going to grow together. And I believe T. Higgins, because of his price point, regardless of where he's playing, can give you some upside when it comes to investing. Now, I don't know if am I saying he's going to be a long-term Hall of Fame receiver? I'm not saying that. But he can come out next year, be 1,000-yard receiver with 6 or 7 touchdowns, and you maybe get a 30% increase on your investment. That's realistic. If only the Texans could have held out that 24-0 lead versus the Chiefs in the divisional round last season. They shouldn't have been in that game if Deshaun Watson didn't pull a Superman move and break a tackle against the Buffalo Bills last year and break out of 2 linebacker tackles on a sack and throw a screen pass. Okay, Herbert's market would depend on how he does with the new coach. Justin Herbert cards are going to be blazing hot coming into next NFL season, regardless of the coach, regardless of the team, regardless of any situation. The fact that his name is Justin Herbert will have his cards scorching coming into next season. Now, whether or not they hold value based on his performance or on the team, that's yet to be seen. But I can tell you right now, just like Kyler Murray coming into this year, his cards are going to be scorching hot. However, around March or April, you might be able to get some good buys on these guys, especially when the draft is going on and Trevor Lawrence is being drafted and the quarterback from Ohio State is Fields or something, slipping my mind right now. When these guys are being drafted, everybody's going to be thinking about these guys, and guys like Herbert are going to, they're not going to be forgotten about. Don't get me wrong, but they're going to take a slight back seat temporarily. And then when July and August starts rolling around and we start talking about, training camp and things like that, and the preseason, Justin Herbert cards are going to skyrocket again, and they may be a quick flip because you may not want to hold him because you may not want to risk on what he's going to do next year. But I can tell you firsthand experience, that's what happened with Kyler Murray last year. I did well off of that because I got Kyler Murray prisms last year when they took a dip, and then I sold them coming into the season this year. I could have held him and made a little bit more money, but I sold him. If I would have, I just didn't know what he was going to do. I didn't know he was going to come out and throw a Hail Mary to DeAndre Hopkins and his cards were going to 3X. But, who predicts Hail Marys these days? This is a good one here. I totally agree. Right now, you need to be researching next year's QB free agents. Because, and I totally agree, I'm on guys like Carson Wentz, and I know, he played terrible for the Eagles. He lost a starting job. He wants out of Philly. Philly doesn't want that contract. It's going to be tough to see if another team takes that contract, but if they do, he doesn't even have to step foot on the field. The fact that he would sign with another team would be enough for you to make money off of him right now because his cards are low. I made money off Andy Dalton, guys. So just based on the fact that he was leaving Cincinnati and signing with another team, I bought his cards thinking he might sign with New England. I still made money because he signed with Dallas as a backup. So look at guys like Carson Wentz right now. They have to be guys that are established. I mean, Carson Wentz has a little bit of an establishment behind him. He hasn't always been a bad quarterback. What's up, Tal? How you doing, man? Okay, I'm not sure what this question, does StarStock issue 1099s? I'm not sure what that means. You might have to brush me up on that question. Mbappe and Ronaldo are safe buys. I would say Ronaldo is a safe buy. Mbappe, Mbappe is like buying Luka. Ronaldo is like buying LeBron. So, yeah, you can say Ronaldo is guaranteed safe buy because his legacy is written. Ronaldo has, a couple good seasons like Luka, but what happens if he flops from here on out in his future? Or what happens if he has a devastating injury or something like that? I wouldn't necessarily label Mbappe as a safe buy yet, especially at his prices. If you could buy Mbappe prisms for $50 graded, that's safe. But if you're paying a couple hundreds of dollars for them, to me, that's not safe. Just because of the price point on a guy who doesn't have a concrete legacy. Concrete legacy is safe. When you're buying Mbappe, you're buying into potential, you're buying into hype, you're buying into future. When you're buying Ronaldo, you're buying into championships, World Cups, all-time goals. You're buying into the entirety of it, legacy, even Twitter followers for what it's worth. So that's a big difference between those two players when you're talking about them being a safe buy. I would agree on Ronaldo 100%. On Mbappe, I would say he's more of a gamble at the prices that you got to pay for him. For PSA 9 prisms of these guys, they're about the same price. If not, Mbappe is actually probably a little bit more. Would you rather buy a PSA 9 prism of Mbappe for the same price of a Ronaldo? What is more safe? When you're talking safe between those two, I would probably say Ronaldo. Yeah, like I just brought that up. 150 for a World Cup PSA 9 Ronaldo. That's not a bad buy. We've seen the potential at that card at its peak. It will never see that peak again, I don't think. But we've seen the potential of that card. That card in a PSA 9 has been $1,000 card or $900 card. If it's 150 now, we know what the potential of it is. Can it ever get any lower than $150? Ask yourself. Can a World Cup Ronaldo, okay, one of the best ever, in a PSA 9 first World Cup card Prism, ever get any lower than 150 bucks? If it can't, then you really got no risk. You can always resell it for what you bought it for. But the upside is there. So it's pretty much zero risk. However, it has reward. So to me, when you have zero risk, but you have reward potential, to me, that's just a good investment. Or say, for instance, that card is no longer popular at all and it falls to a $100 card or a $50 card. At least you're only out 50 bucks or $100. But I still believe the reward by far outweighs the loss that you can take on a card like that. Hey guys, let's help out Flea Market Mixtape. Sports Card Daily, or he's asking Ziggy, what's the best Springer card to go after? So I guess we're talking about George Springer, the outfielder, Astros. Maybe he's a free agent, going to go somewhere. Let's help him out, guys. I'm not the hugest baseball person. I know a little bit about baseball. I've had George Springer on fantasy teams, so I know that he's good. But what's a good card, guys? Let's hit him up in the chat. Let's help him out. Help me out. Help me help him. Let's get Martincino up here. Again, guys, we're talking about some soccer. Got a good mix going tonight. We've talked some football. We're trying to talk a little bit of baseball. NBA is actually what we've talked the least about, but we're talking some soccer. Don't be afraid to throw some more NBA stuff up there, guys. Martincito 714. Tops attacks. So the match attacks and the crystal cards. I like the crystal cards. Not super huge on the match attacks. I believe it's like a game. I don't think people necessarily look at it as a card. Because there's a lot of people who have a match attacks card prior to their first release card, and people don't even consider the match attacks to be the rookie. That could change in the future. So with them being cheap investments, you could invest in those and hope that the market would someday adopt those as a rookie card. But you're hoping for a market shift, which is tough. The crystal cards are just pretty cool because they look awesome. They're acetate. Some of them are tough to get. E-Man sent me an awesome Juventus Cristiano Ronaldo that I have. It came from Italy. But they're just cool cards. Again, I wouldn't invest in either one of them heavily as far as rookie cards and things like that. But if I was to choose one as a card that I liked, I would go with the crystal. The Topps match attacks just doesn't tend to get much love. Like you can even walk in to your local Target or Walmart and actually find match attacks on the shelf. In a barren zombie wasteland of retail, you can still find Topps match attacks on the shelf. So, just people just for some reason just don't want to touch it. Okay. We're talking soccer here with this, right? Sticker is just not as sexy, plus Prism is king, plus we have Olympics this year. Soccer will boom. Okay, so this is a big debate. In the States, it's about cards. In Europe, it's about stickers. And really, what it all boils down to is what we know and what we're comfortable with. Here in the States, it was always cards. So what we grew up on, that's what we grew up opening, gum in the packs. It was cards. They didn't issue cards in Europe. It was stickers. It was stickers. So you got two different markets. For me personally, when I'm looking for a player that I believe is an all-time great in soccer, I'm going to try to hunt down their older stickers. due to the fact that soccer is going to come and it's going to go in waves. And in the end game for soccer, for me, I believe is going to be rarity. And there's a lot of prisms out there. Prism is king when it comes to buying and quick flipping. That there's no denying that. But in the end game, when all the flippers are gone and there's nothing but collectors left, the collectors are going to want the rare collectible items, and that's not going to be base prisms. Okay? As harsh as that may sound, that's not going to be base prisms. I don't think it's going to be the fact for any sport. 3, 5, 8, 10 years from now, whenever the sports card market bubble bursts, and it will, because everything goes in cycles, the one constant that will remain will be the collectors. When the investors and the flippers are gone, the collectors will still be here. And the collectors are going to want PC items. They're going to want items that have collectability. They're going to want rare items that are going to want neat looking items that are aesthetically appealing. And that's not base rookie cards. Okay. I invest in both. I like it all. So this is not me bashing Prism. This is just me looking long term and saying, in the end, if I'm stuck holding a stack of cards, do I want to be holding a stack of items that are collectible? Or do I want to be holding a stack of items that are very, very plentiful as far as supply and demand? So that's my outlook, especially in the soccer market. U.S. market is just getting generated for soccer. And once the World Cup comes and it goes, and there's no interest in the U.S. men's national teams and things like that, there's still going to be a huge European market for soccer cards. And what are they going to want? A majority of them are going to want the stickers, because that's what they grow up on, and that's what they know, and that's what they're comfortable with. And I've had this debate for a long time. And for a long time, I've argued cards. But after doing a lot of research and a lot of soccer collecting and looking through the market, I've just realized that, hey, I got to stop being so close-minded to the cards and the prisms and realize that in the end, the value is going to lie in a lot of these rare stickers that you just don't find. And you definitely don't find them graded in good grades. All caps. I like this. How many teams passed on Dan Marino? Bunch of fools. All right, guys, start listing all the quarterbacks that were drafted ahead of Dan Marino in the 1983 draft. So how many you guys get? Don't go to Google and cheat or look on your phone or anything. Shaq is due for a boom in price. I agree. I agree that he's underpriced. I do. I don't know when that boom is coming. I'm not rushing the Shaq boom because that gives me more time to get more. I was talking about the upper decks earlier in a PSA 9, and where you can buy those in a PSA 9 for $250, and the PSA 10 is $3,000. And I will tell you that is because, and you may not want to believe me, but that's because that card is protected by PSA. PSA does not want to give that upper deck 1A number 1 draft pick Shaq card a 10. They just don't want to do it. Look at the submissions. Look at the 9s, or the 10s, the 9s, and the 8s. The 10s are almost non-existent. And the 9s, there's actually less than 9s than there is 8s. So a majority of that card, about 60 to 70% of that card, I believe, gets graded in an 8. The 9 still sits at only $250. There's just something wrong with that picture. And you can say it's junk wax, but I don't care, because when you put a grade on junk wax, it adds a level of rarity to it. So when you look at the number of submissions and you say, okay, 60 to 70% of these are 8s and lower, why is the 9 so cheap? Why is it only less than 10% of the value of the 10 when normally a 9 draws anywhere between 25 and 33% of a 10 in today's market. It's because Shaq is overlooked, that card is overlooked, and people relate it to junk wax. But you can't call it junk wax when there's 20,000 or more. When PSA gets out of their backlog, there's no telling how many of these new Prisms and PSA 10s are going to be on the market. I will take Shaq over a lot of these players any day of the week, twice on Sunday. And there's nothing even right now driving his market. It takes a catalyst. It takes a spark. It takes a Kobe documentary, okay? I was watching Shaq and Charles Barkley announcing a basketball game the other night. I was dying laughing because they just had me cracking up going back and forth. So Shaq is still in the mainstream. Everybody knows his name. He was in movies. He had a rap album. I mean, for Christ's sake, it might have been bad, but still, your grandma knows who Shaq is. So for $250 for a PSA 9 on that upper deck card, still to me is a steal. I'm buying them, and I'm buying them. And the thing is I don't believe I can lose on them again. Can it get any lower? I just don't think it can get any lower. You know, Shaq will never go down, but it only takes a spark for those cards to 4X for you, okay? For people to realize the rarity on that card and its value as opposed to the value in a 9 as opposed to the value in a 10, for that spark to ignite a flame, and then you're sitting on a nice investment. Guys, I skipped down in the comments again, try to find my way back up. I miss a lot of comments. I'm sorry. I try to answer as many as I can. You guys get talking in the chat, which is awesome. I like that you guys interact with each other. That's what the community is all about. It's not just about me running my mouth on here. Okay, there we go. Let me see. Oh, thanks, Brad. Yeah, I wasn't even paying attention. Yeah, you guys can hit the like button if you want. If you don't like it, you can still hit the like button if you want. But yeah, Brad, thanks for joining me tonight, man. It's awesome having you in the chat. Maybe someday we could talk or something, man. That would be awesome. Yeah, I understand that also. I do have the Shaq B's. It is the trade card and the redemption card. For some reason, the #1 draft pick has just been adopted as the card. A lot of times it's tough to change the market around. And a lot of times it's easier to say that I would take the B because it's cheaper to buy. So, yeah, if it was the other way around, you might say, hey, well, I would rather buy the 1A because it's cheaper. The trade card, it just doesn't have the appeal because it says trade card on it. You know, I think that, you know, what makes that card cool is like a 3D look. It's not a 3D card, but it's like a 3D photo of Shaq going up for a dunk. But when you read the top and it says trade card, that's just not as aesthetically appealing as it's saying #1 draft pick. Okay, so I believe that's what it boils down to. I don't think it has much to do with rarity or anything like that. But let's not lie to ourselves. When it, you know, the appearance of a card is also something that drives its value. The aesthetics to it, that's what makes people gravitate to it. When you see it say trade card up there, it's just not as cool or as neat as it's saying #1 draft pick. Although the photo and everything else is the same. I would guess that would be, I guess that would be where the differential takes place in the values. I would have to relate it to, you know, the aesthetics. Flippin' Steve becoming a favorite. That would be cool. But, you know, I'm just trying to be out here and do my live stream and interact and talk to you guys. And if you guys like the live stream, man, that's awesome because that's why I do it. I make time for it every Monday night because I want to be able to interact with you guys. You guys watch my videos and you comment, and I try to respond. But this is the best way that I can respond to your questions because, you know, I can talk it out with you guys, and you guys can tell me what you think, and you guys can talk. And if I'm becoming, you know, a favorite of you guys, that's awesome. Hey, I'm humble. You know, I appreciate it. And, I just want to give back to the community because, I mean, this has become fun for me. And I look forward to these Monday nights now, guys. Believe it or not, I do. My wife gets tired of me talking her ear off about cards, man. I can come and talk to you guys. I got 93 people in the chat right now. I got 93 people that actually care about what I have to say about cards. And I don't have to talk my wife's ear off right now because I get things racing through my head, man. I got to share it with somebody. The Texans are a mess. I hear you, Tampa home investors. Texans are a bit of a mess. And you guys are giving it to the Texans tonight. Is there any Texans fans out there? Dak was on pace for the most amazing year. That injury sucked. Yeah, most amazing from a statistical standpoint. And we don't know where the Cowboys would have been with him. Probably a playoff team because, I mean, really look at the NFC East. You guys want to talk about the Texans being a mess. Let's talk about that division. But it's just a shame. I'm not a Cowboys fan. In fact, I'm one of those people that like to root against the Cowboys, but I never, ever like to see a player have something like that happen to them. Anybody in the world. But, I mean, it was just terrible the way that he went down. And from a statistical standpoint, he was going to be awesome. You may think that this sounds crazy, but I think it's going to help him next season as far as his contract negotiations because Dallas actually realized what he meant to that team. They didn't pay him coming into the season. They didn't know if he was worth it. Well, the questions were answered. He was worth what he was asking for that team. And even me, myself, was thinking he was asking for too much money. When you're talking about him asking for Patrick Mahomes type money. Now, with that being said, he's not Patrick Mahomes, but is he worth that much to his team? Okay, let's stop comparing people's salaries to each other and compare them to how much they are worth to their team in a given situation. Was Dallas set to make a playoff run if Dak Prescott was healthy? If so, then he's worth what he was asking, regardless of what anybody else in the NFL is making. So I believe that will help him in his contract negotiations next year. I don't think that they'll be able to say, hey, you're injured. We don't know what we have. This is scary. We're not going to sign you, because he has leverage now, in my opinion. If the Luka Blue Velocity second-year optic go for 50 to 60 raw and Trays go for 10 to 15 raw, why do you think that Trays wouldn't equal Luka prices? Okay. I'm not sure if this is a question directed towards me, directed towards chat. Maybe you guys were debating it. Here's the thing. The players are both great. However, who has higher collectability? Okay, Luka has higher collectability. It's always going to come down to collectability when you get out of rookie cards. Okay, when you start talking about second-year cards and inserts and stuff, it's going to be collectability. So whether or not Trey averages 40 points this year and wins MVP and Luka struggles, if Luka's collectability remains higher than Trey's, then his values on his inserts and second-year type cards will remain the same. The flippers and the investors are going to run up the price of the rookie cards, and that's going to balance out. But the second-year stuff is stuff that collectors buy. Okay, blue velocities, parallels, inserts, that's stuff that collectors target. If Trey doesn't have the collectors that Luka has, and Luka's market is bigger, remember, he's international. He's not just a star for the Atlanta Hawks, okay? He's not just a star here in the U.S. He has European appeal. Much bigger market. That's what is going to drive the price of Luka to be higher than Trey, even if Trey's rookies are the same price and he's playing better. The collectability of Luka will be higher because he has a bigger market. And that's what is going to cause that to happen. So when you see things like that, that's why. It's because of the collectability of the player, not a player's performance or a player's rookie card value, but a person who is collecting PC items is going to drive those types of cards, not, performance and such that's going to drive the value of those cards. Put my mind. Do I own any LeBron rookie cards? Don't think I've seen you mention it before. Is that directed towards me? I have 4. I have 4 LeBron rookie cards. If you're talking to me, I have a 2003 Topps. I have a 2003 Fleer. I have a 2003 Upper Deck MVP and a 2003 is it Upper Deck exclusives? I'm not sure. They're all PSA 9s, except the Upper Deck MVP is a BGS 9.5 True Gem Mint. So I do have those 4. The Fleer is my favorite, even though the Topps is the most valuable. The Fleer is my favorite. I just like the Fleer. I love the look of it. It's very clean looking. And I like the Fleer rookie card because Jordan's rookie card is a Fleer. So I like the LeBron rookie card as a Fleer. I think it's a great value. And the other 2, the Upper Decks, I just bought those because they were really cheap, and I looked to flip them. If I was to sell them, I would sell all 3 of them except for the Fleer. I would even sell the Topps before I sold the Fleer, even though the Topps is the one that a lot of people like and think has a longer term value on it. I like the Fleer. But yeah, I do have 4 LeBrons. Unfortunately, I was running late tonight, guys. If you were here early, you realize I was running like 5 minutes late. So I didn't bring my card boxes over here. I would show you my LeBrons, because I don't like talking about cards unless I can show you, because a lot of people talk about cards that they don't actually own, unless they disclose it. That's cool. But I mean, I don't like it when people are like, oh, go buy this, but they can't show you that they bought it themselves. That just doesn't, I don't know. Why would you tell somebody else to buy it if you don't buy it yourself? But anyway, I have some LeBrons. I would show them to you. Maybe I'll make them my backdrop in my next video just so you can see them. My best LeBron that I had was I talked about it earlier. I sold it. It was a PS, or it wasn't even a PSA. It was a BGS 10, BGS 10 pristine. It wasn't a black label, but it was a BGS 10 pristine, Topps finest refractor. I still have photos of me holding it before I sold it. Oh, am I late on this comment? Oh, I'm like 30 minutes late on this comment. Good Lord. Burrows and T. Higgins. Yeah, I talked about T. Higgins. Guys, I'm sorry. I'm getting your comments way late because I stop on every single one that I see, and it's starting to get impossible. This comment came in at 9:15 and it's 9:45. I'm sorry, Charleston frat boy. I'm going to have to just start skimming to the end and getting some. Yeah, Robert Lewandowski. I'm always looking to pick up Lewandowski. He's got 19 goals now, guys. 19. Untouchable. Guys, I'm going to try to catch up on the comments. If I miss your comment, okay, I'm coming down here around 9:45 comments. If I missed your comment, retype it in because I just want to try to get caught up. And if I missed a comment that you really want me to talk about, I'll put it back in there because I'm answering comments for people who may not even be here anymore. All right, 80s baseball rookie cards worth investing in. Don Mattingly, Kirby Puckett, Eric Davis. Don Mattingly will have appeal because he's a Yankee, Mr. Yankee. They're going to have to be graded. They're tough grades. Oh, I just saw that comment that came in. Kirby Puckett. He was a great player. So if you saw Kirby Puckett playing in the mid 80s to 90s, with the Twins, then you know how good he was. Eric Davis, I would say no. He had a great start to his career and just was kind of a flash in the pan. Kirby Puckett was great, had a great career. However, didn't hit a whole lot of long balls. And unless you were around to watch him play, you can't appreciate him. Don Mattingly will always be talked about because he was a Yankee. So if I had to go with, those three, I'm definitely going to address this next one. Tony Gwynn, one of my favorite players of all time, underappreciated because he didn't hit home runs, but he could hit the ball anywhere that he wanted. Cal Ripken and Tony Gwynn were my two favorite players. Now, his tops is the card. When you go back to those older cards, that Fleer looks nice, I believe, because it has like a beige finish, like a brown border, beige type tan border, which looks good with the Padres uniform. But the tops is just anything from these 80s guys is just kind of the tops that you want, unless it's one of those crazy Fleer update sets or 84 Don Russ, which was considered to be like the 89th score of football, where it was just head and shoulders above the rest of the sets. I can talk baseball when we talk about this older stuff. Who am I buying on StarStock? I have a flip, grip, or skip video coming out tomorrow where I'm going to show you what I've done on StarStock again this week. That's going to be my flip part of the video again. I show you some crazy stuff. Really what I've done is now I'm starting to buying up the older veterans that are on StarStock, because very few and far between do you see older players on there. People are buying and selling and quick flipping these young guys from 2017, 18, 19 or whatever. I've gone back and I've bought Jokic cards and Porzingis cards, and I'm just holding them in my vault waiting because there's not many of those on StarStock. People aren't sending those to StarStock. People are sending all the rookies that are no good to StarStock in hopes that they have a big game and they can sell them off. So I'm buying up those types of guys. I will sit up and watch NBA games, look at guys that get off to a fast start. I will scoop up a couple of their low rookie cards at a low price and instantly relist them at about 50% to 75% of what I bought them for. So say, for instance, I'm looking at Jared Culver from last night, who finally had a good game. I would go grab a couple of his selects for $10, instantly relist them for 15. Okay, get 50% of profit off of them, or maybe list, if I buy 5 of them, maybe list 3 of them at 15, 2 of them at 17.50, and 1 of them at 20, and just watch them as they get sold off, go up in price, and sell them all off. And I did that with quite a few players. You guys are going to see my StarStock this week was insane. You guys are going to see that in my next video. You're going to see some of these rookies that I sold on StarStock, and you're going to be like, damn, how is that even possible? But you will see. I see Tiger Woods in there. We'll talk about Tiger Woods a little bit. Brandon Lee, what's up? You won the Tatum card, man. That's coming out. You're going to have to be patient. I believe it was you. It's coming to Australia, so it's going to be a while to get there. So if it doesn't show up within a month, don't worry. It's been sent, all right? It's just the way the post office is working right now. I'm still waiting for cards from Germany that I ordered in October. All right, so Ben Simmons. I'm just not big on Ben Simmons. My brother's is a Sixers fan. I'm not far from Philly, but he's a point guard that can't shoot. That's an oxymoron. It just doesn't go together, okay? If you're a point guard, you got to be able to shoot. He doesn't even shoot foul shots very good. So he's a great defender. He can score inside, but that's why him and Joel Embiid don't necessarily mesh well together, because Ben Simmons is a more drive the lane type point guard, drive the lane and score type point guard. But that's Embiid's area. The paint is Embiid's area. Simmons needs to be able to shoot to alleviate some of that off of Embiid underneath. And he's just not been able to develop a shot. I thought maybe with Doc Rivers he would be able to. But if you can't shoot and you don't practice your craft, And even if you do practice, maybe you just will never become a great shooter. You know, you can be average, but maybe never great. That's why I thought a Simmons trade for Harden would have been great as far as meshing. Now, chemistry-wise, I'm not going to say that because you never know what you're going to get with Harden from a teammate standpoint, but he would have been great as that outside shooter with Embiid inside owning the center. But Simmons, I'm just not really big on him because he's already kind of expensive. And what else can he do? He's not an MVP. Don't know if he's an all-star. And don't think the Sixers are going to win a title. So you're paying all-star MVP prices for him, but he's not that caliber of player, in my opinion. My favorite player to collect. It's not necessarily a player. I just don't go in on a player. I like certain looks of cards. Cal Ripken Jr. is my favorite baseball player ever, so I bought all the Project 2020s of him, so I'd have the whole set. Doesn't mean I was huge on Project 2020. Okay, I didn't go crazy on Project 2020, but I bought all the Ripkens, so that's something that I PC'd. Really cool older soccer stickers, like I showed a couple earlier. When I got into soccer, just the old soccer stuff I love. I showed the Zico 1978 World Cup earlier. You just don't see this type of stuff. So when it comes to soccer, that's the stuff that I see or that I like. 1971 Johan Cruyff soccer. Let's go with another soccer card. 1934 Stanley Matthews and a BGS 8. Great player. So I like this old soccer stuff. That's all I really have handy to show you because I leave my soccer stuff sit right here. I like the out-of-the-box stuff. Got a couple cool wrestling cards, a couple cool golf cards. I got a cool Tiger Woods card, which I actually may sell right now because I would probably be stupid to not sell it, which we can still talk about Tiger Woods if you guys want. But, yeah, I have a really good Tiger Woods rookie that I would like to sell. It's actually the jersey version in a PSA 10 of his rookie card. Just some of my out-of-the-box stuff that you guys see, a couple cool Andre the Giant items. These base basketball cards is not something I collect. It's more or less something that I like to sell. I like to collect the older, safe players. Right now I'm targeting what I want for myself. I just can't warrant spending it. There's two cards I want for myself right now. I have the money. I could PayPal it right now. I could have the cards next week. However, I don't warrant spending large sums of money on cards for myself. One of them is a 1984 Topps PSA 10 Dan Marino, which is going to run me about $3,000. And the other is a PSA 8 Larry Bird Magic Johnson 1980 Topps. So I want those two cards. But do I want to put out the money for them so that I can just take them and put them in a box? That's the question, and look at them every now and then. They do have longer-term appeal to them. But, again, I'm not getting any younger. How long do I plan on holding a Larry Bird rookie card for? So that's two cards that I would like to add, but just can't warrant the price point strictly for collection purposes. Yeah, those update Puckin and Clemens were great. That set was tough. It's a good question. All right, I'm gonna talk about this in depth a little bit. I might even rant on it a little bit because I saw some content talking about this card. Buy, sell, hold Tiger Woods 2001 Upper Deck PSA 10. Where do I start? Okay, this card a while back when I was looking to buy them, were about $300 in the PSA 10. They come up to about the $500 mark. They come back down to about the $300 mark. They just kind of went up and down with all the other card markets. For some reason, it was hot, it was cool, it was hot. All of a sudden, it's a $1,200 card, $1,200 to $1,500 maybe, depending on who the buyer and what whatever auction is going off. Now, I have heard people talk about this being a pump and a dump. Now, as a YouTube content creator, I am not going to say that this is a pump and dump. That would be irresponsible of me to say without me having any kind of backing. Saying, okay, this was a shield bidded auction and it was never paid off on or anything like that. There's no proof of that. All you have are various software tools out there showing you a graph of how this card went like this and just went like this. Okay? Well, that's a software tool showing you that a card increased in value, and these tools aren't going to tell you why. They're just going to tell you that it happened. And they're going to tell you that it happened after the fact that it happened. Okay? So all it takes is a spark or a catalyst. Like my buddy Chris over at Vegas Fine 777, awesome channel, check him out, says all it takes is a catalyst. Okay? Is there a catalyst around Tiger Woods? Does there need to be a catalyst around Tiger Woods? First of all, he's arguably, because you have Jack Nicklaus, the best golfer of all time. But you can't debate that he's a top 5 sports figure of the last 20 years. Okay? Iconic figure, not just in sports, worldwide, pop culture icon. Okay? In the last 20 years, top 5. Can't argue it, can't debate it. Worldwide, not just in the US. So did he need a catalyst? In my opinion, he didn't. But is there a catalyst? Yes, there's a documentary. There's a documentary coming up about a week from now, okay? That's all it takes is a catalyst. And people might say, well, a documentary, is that catalyst? Should that really make that card, 2.5x or 3x? Well, what did it do for Jordan rookies when a documentary come out? Is Tiger Woods the Jordan of his sport? Yes, he is. Is Tiger Woods $100,000 like Michael Jordan is? No, he's not. So it's not unreasonable for Tiger Woods to be a $1,500 card. Okay, I saw Roger Federer and Rafael Nadal tennis cards hit $2,000 this summer when Rafael Nadal won his 20th major and tied Roger Federer. Okay, did people say that it was a pump and dump on Roger Federer and Rafael Nadal cards? No, they didn't. They said, oh, these guys are the GOATs of tennis. All it took was a catalyst. It took Federer winning another French Open. Okay? Kyler Murray Prisms 3x'd. Why? Because he completed a Hail Mary touchdown to DeAndre Hopkins. That's our market that we live in. Luka Doncic Prisms. And people say there's 9,000 of these Tigers in a PSA 10. There's 20,000 Lukas in a PSA 10. He hit a game-winning three-pointer, and his card went from $1,000 to $2,000 on a shot, on one shot. Okay, and I know I'm sounding like I'm ranting, but for people to say that this is a pump and dump, they're not looking at the bigger picture. They're closed-minded, okay, and they're giving you their opinion because they're probably not invested and they missed out and they're bitter. Okay, that's just a hard. I might sound like I'm coming off like a complete butthole, but when I see stuff like this, it bugs me because as YouTube content creators, you got to be more responsible. You can't tell your viewers that this is a pump and dump. You better sell yours now or don't buy. And I'm not recommending either, okay? Because you're asking buy, sell, or hold. I'm not going to tell you to sell because I don't know what your buy-in level is. If you bought them for $100 and you can sell them now for $1,000, sell them. If you bought them for $800 and you can sell them now for $1,200, I would probably say hold them. If you missed them all together and $1,200 to $1,500 is a lot of money, I would say just don't worry about it. Don't chase. You missed the boat. It happens. But to say that it's a pump and dump and you better sell or don't buy or whatever is just irresponsible, to tell thousands of viewers that you might have without any kinds of backing. Now, if you can pull up and say, okay, these auctions were phony, they weren't paid for, they were shield bidded, this, that, and the other, that's fine. Back that up. But if you're going to use tools and data to show you a spike in a card and say this isn't right, then you better have some data to back up the fact as to why it's not right. So don't argue with your data if you have no data, on the other hand, to back up what you got to say. So that's my rant on that. I'm sorry if I set anybody back with that, but that's just my rant on the Tiger cards. Why can't Tiger Woods cards, even if there's 9,000 PSA 10s, be worth $1,200? You're telling me there's not 9,000 people in this entire world that would like to have a PSA 9 or a PSA 10 Tiger Woods rookie card? Because I can tell you that there's 77 people just in my chat right now that would probably like to have one. So I don't know. Maybe I missed something on that. Maybe I'm just ranting. But if I made any sense to anybody, at least let me know. If you disagree with me, that's cool too. But that's just my thought on that. All right, Anthony Davis cards prove the market wrong. His underpriced and a hard sell. He's not a very hard sell at the moment. Anthony Davis cards have started to see some increase in sales. Believe me, I track Anthony Davis because I got nervous because I bought Prism PSA 10 and I bought it when it was pretty pricey, over $2,000, and it came down. I was a little nervous. I track the market on that card regularly, and it is going up. For some reason, he doesn't get a lot of the hobby love that a lot of players get. I believe it's because he's still 1B on the Lakers and LeBron is 1A. If he was 1A on his team like Kawhi or like Giannis, he would get more attention. But his cards do sell. I did a video on bargain cards yesterday talking about how you could still get in on his hoops and his Panini Brilliance cards at a good price. When I talked about that yesterday, his Panini Brilliance cards were only around 150, 160. I actually showed sales, recent sales, and today they're going for like 220 to 250. So just in that short period of time, they're starting to climb, and they're not climbing because I talked about them on the video. Believe me, I don't have that type of influence over the market. It's just the fact that I mentioned it in a video because I could see that that train was starting to leave the station, and I didn't want any of my supporters or viewers to miss that bus if they had any interest. And it's happening. The Anthony Davis cards are starting to go up. So hopefully you guys maybe picked one up if you were interested, or maybe you don't like Anthony Davis, but either way, I talked about the Panini Brilliance just yesterday in a video, and it's already seen like a 25% increase between then and now. Chuck, Tiger cards are way overdue for a run-up, Steve. He's the second best golfer of all time behind Jack. Yeah, and Chuck, again, I love investing in the stuff that nobody else is buying. I bought a 1981 Don Russ rookie of Jack Nicklaus in a PSA 8 months ago, and it cost me like $18. It was like under $20 for a PSA 8. At the time, I was like, man, golf cards don't have any value, but man, this is Jack Nicklaus in a PSA 8. How can I go wrong for $18? I just always look at cards like that, and I'm like, man, can this hurt me? You know, what do I have to lose here as opposed to what I could gain? Not long after that, that same card was on Card Ladder selling for thousands of bucks in a PSA 10. Now, like I said again, mine was only a PSA 8, but for $18, I believe I couldn't beat the price at the time. And it was a card that I didn't mind getting stuck with. If I never could sell it, if it never gained any value, I didn't care because it was a Jack Nicklaus and a PSA 8 and a rookie card. And to me, it was just cool to have. What are my thoughts on Ludo from the Thunder? Has very limited rookie cards. Is this Dort? If this is Dort, then I think he's good. I think you can grab some of his stuff. I believe he has some stuff in the new Hoops Premium. I'm not sure what all products you have out there, but Dort looks like a good player, and I believe, is he French or maybe French Canadian or something? I'm not really sure. You guys have to educate me on that. Like I said, whenever I don't know something, you guys feel free to correct me. But I do think he's got some good. I do think he's got some good potential. I like him too. It's just being stuck there in OKC. A lot of those guys are just in no man's land right now. Darius Baisley had a decent game last night. He's a guy who had some hype coming into the season. But I just don't think he's going to go anywhere because he's in OKC. I don't think his cards are going to see big boosts. Even Shea Gilgeous-Alexander cards have leveled off. There was the hype coming into the season. And even though he has lived up to the hype, he's played great. His cards have just leveled off because people just aren't interested in Oklahoma City right now. And that has a lot to do with a player's cards. There's a lot of NBA players out there right now that are scoring tons of points and putting up lots of numbers, and people just don't care for one reason or another. Maybe they're late bloomers, or they're on a team that nobody really cares about. So you look at a guy like Terry Rozier on Charlotte, who can go out and blow up for 40 points, or Julius Randle on the Knicks, who can post up a triple-double, but nobody really cares. You know, you guys probably didn't even know that happened. Ooh, let's see where we go. All right, guys, it is coming up on 10 after 10. I did start around 8. So, again, another 2-hour live stream. Nobody's going to go back and watch this because who's going to sit through a 2-hour live stream? But if you're here, that's awesome. I'm going to take some more questions, a few more comments, probably wrap it up somewhere between 10:15 and 10:20 because I don't want to cut anybody short. But eventually I got to get a drink and give my voice a little bit of a break, and we will do this hopefully next Monday. I'm going to try to make this a Monday thing, guys. We got Flip, Grip, or Skip coming out tomorrow. I'm still doing some research on some NBA bargain cards. I just dropped one yesterday on some NBA, not veterans, but guys like Giannis, Anthony Davis, Kawhi, even threw Jokic in there on some bargain cards of those that are under the radar. And I'm going to try to do another video of that, maybe with some older vets or maybe some newer guys. I'm not really sure which way I'm going to lean yet. I'm going to check out the market. I do it all myself. I do my own research. I don't have any tools. So it might take me a couple days between videos because I can't just push a button and have the info in front of me. And I mean, I could, but I don't. And I have a mail day coming up. It has a lot of stuff that I've been waiting for, a lot of basketball cards where I'm going to do a mail day outside the box with some Marvel stuff, UFC, show you a couple other basketball cards, you know, like the videos that I've always done that you guys like. I'm going to do that video as well. And I'm going to continue to take a couple questions here throughout. And no, man, don't label me that, man. Don't label me that. I can't live with that pressure. I don't want to be. If I ever felt like I got to that point, I probably would call it quits just because I don't want to jeopardize. I don't want to sound like I'm high and mighty or anything, but I do value my integrity. So I will always be honest. This is a pretty good question. Any thoughts on PSA 10 or way off centering? So you're talking about getting a PSA 10 and looking at it and the centering being off. I can tell you that by definition, PSA's own written definition on how they grade a 10 is that they will allow you 60-40 on the front and they will allow you 70-30 on the back of a card. So if you look at a card and it looks 60-40 on the front and it still has a 10, that's because by PSA definition, it's allowed to be 60-40. If you look at the back and you're like, holy crap, look at the border on that thing. Remember, 70-30 on the back is allowed by PSA. With that being said, humans grade cards. So Mistakes can be made. People always say buy the card and not the grade. People who do that are not investors. They're collectors. Your hardcore collectors are going to buy what looks good to them. So they really don't care about what the grade on the slab means, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me because they're paying a premium for what that number on the slab says. So I don't get that a whole lot. I mean, I understand the narrative. However, if you're paying for a PSA 10 that doesn't look like a PSA 10, why would you pay PSA 10 prices for it? So, maybe they're buying PSA 9s that look like 10s. I don't know, but I've heard that a lot. Buy the card and not the grade. And I get the narrative of it. And I get it coming from collectors. However, with investors and flippers, the first thing they look at is the grade, and that's the only thing that they care about because that's what they're selling. They're selling that PSA 10. That is what is giving, that's what's giving I'm going to use Kobe White, for example. That's what's giving Kobe White base Prism rookies value is a PSA 10 slab. Without the PSA 10 slab, it's just a $20 card. Okay, with a PSA 10 slab on it, it's a $200 plus card. So what's giving it the value? It's not rare. The slab is giving it the value. So again, by definition, you're looking 60-40 from PSA on the front. When Ja comes back, is he going to get the hype bump? It's happened, Ricardo. It's already happened. There was a very, very small window to buy Ja cards. His Prisms might come down some more, maybe to 650. But if they even come to 650, do you want to come out $650 for a base Prism Ja Morant card? I mean, he is a second-year player. He did suffer an injury. He's not on a very good team. Yeah, he's a great player. He's got that going for him. Is he $650 worth of great player? I can find $650 that I would rather spend somewhere else. Maybe a PSA 9 Fleer LeBron James. You can buy a 2003 Fleer LeBron James rookie card for under $500. Or you could buy a PSA 10 base Prism Ja Morant for $650. You could buy the LeBron and have $150 left over. To me, that just makes a little more sense. When it comes to Ja, I'm buying it on his hoops. And if you've watched some of my videos, you would have seen me talking about the hoops. However, that hoops card is even bumped. I can't even get on them now. When I talked about the hoops card, I bought one for $110. I was like, yeah, this is a good buy. This is a good buy. They're $150 now. 2 days removed, 2 or 3 days removed from when I was talking about it. And again, that's not me talking about it. That's just the fact that there's a very small window and people realize he's going to be back sooner than later and he's going to play well. And people are already expecting the bump. So they're buying now because they're expecting the bump. But by buying now, they're already driving the prices, which is probably going to eliminate a big percentage of what that bump would have been. So think about it like that. No. Now it's on Twitter. Man, I'm gonna be honest, I don't even really know how to use Twitter. I'm that ancient. I'm that out of touch with social media. I have a Twitter account and I look at it. But I want to send a tweet, I gotta ask my daughter. How do I send a tweet? And she shows me, and then the next day I'm like, hey, how do I send a tweet again? All right, guys, let's see. All right, guys, we're coming up to the end. Let's see. We got here. Steve is literally the best and most smartest person in the hobby. Not joking, just facts. I appreciate it, but I wouldn't want that much. I don't know about that. Hey, guys, I watch YouTube content creators as well, and I have my favorites, and there's some that I think are great also. So there's a lot of good YouTube content. out there, and that's what's great about the community right now is that you guys can go to YouTube and you can find somebody talking about something that you love, the hobby, the cards, and and maybe they have some of the views that you have, and that's awesome when you guys agree on something. Or maybe they don't, and that's cool because then you can talk about your differences, and maybe you can convince each other because not everybody's always right, and that's what's awesome about this. And when I say something, whether I'm right or I'm wrong in the end, at least when I say it, I say it with conviction, and at least I feel like, I feel like I'm giving you an honest opinion, and if I'm wrong in the end, then I'm wrong in the end. But at least when I say it, it's meant with goodwill. So, I'm not going to say I'm the smartest. I just value integrity because I'm just older and things like that, and I just don't like to just throw stuff out there for the sake of saying, hey, I got a new YouTube video, go check it out. I like it to have a little bit of substance behind it. Any 2021 rookies I'm eyeballing or plan to grab? Would that be NBA, Tal? NBA? I will take one more comment after this. And then I'm going to have to wrap it up. But, guys, my throat is actually getting a little sore. So there's a rookie that I do like. Of course, Wiseman looked great on Golden State. LaMelo is looking good. I like Cole Anthony, although doesn't seem to be getting a lot of playing time in Orlando. But there's a rookie on the Heat that I really like, and but the Heat, that Heat lineup is just so crowded. But his name is Precious. I can't even pronounce his name, but I know his first name is Precious, like the ring from Lord of the Rings, the Precious. But he's on the Heat, and he comes off the bench, and he plays good. And I think that the fact that he's coming off the bench and not getting a lot of mainstream is going to make him is going to make him a good buy because he's going to be cheap. But I believe in the future, he just seems like the type of player to me that has some potential. If you search the name Precious Miami Heat, you'll know who I'm talking about. But he just looks like a good player. He comes off the bench. He plays well. I think he might have put up 10 points last night. But that team is crowded. They have lots of scorers on that team. You don't ever see a player on that team have like 20 points. Hero will do it every now and then. But, Bam is leading that team in scoring, averaging 19 points a game. But if you look down the list, like Hero is second with 15. And then you got the Dragon with like 13. And Butler hasn't even really been playing. So those guys just evenly distribute the points on that team. So from a final stat line basis, this guy might not look great, but I think he's a good player. Yeah, Precious Chichua, Jared says. That's who I'm talking about. Yep. Five cards that are going to skyrocket every day. I have 5 more. Yeah. I did a YouTube video a while back talking about the future of the channel because I just didn't want to pump out videos like that because I see that and it was getting a little discouraging with the growth where I see channels like that just blowing up. And I'm like, people put out 5 cards to buy now, and they put out one of those videos every other day. And then by the end of the week, they've pretty much given you 20 cards to buy. And I'm just like, is there anybody left? But nah, it is what it is. That's how they get their content. That's cool. That's how it gets, whatever. To each their own. People enjoy it, then they enjoy it. Five cards about the tank. Oh, man, that would be Actually, man, that would be a tough video, Tal. That would be a tough video. In today's NBA market, 5 cards about the tank in today's NBA market would be difficult. I'm going to be honest with the way anything and everything goes up and sells. You know, when I show you my StarStock in my next video and some of the rookies that I flipped because they had a 10-point game, that nowadays causes rookie cards to 3x, 4x. I mean, it's hard to say 5 cards that are going to tank. I would really have to really think about that one. But all right, guys, thanks for joining me. We'll be back again next Monday. Hopefully, that'll be the plan. Nothing set in stone. You know how life is, but that'll be the plan. Plan on dropping a video tomorrow, a quick one, maybe a 10-minute hitter, quick grip or flip, skip or grip. If I get some mail packages in tomorrow, then I might do that outside the box investing with some of the Marvel stuff that I got coming in. Again, there's a Fleer Precious Metal Gems of Carnage, numbered out of 199. I just think it's cool. I used to collect comic books back then. But good night, guys. Thanks for joining me on the live stream. And as always, it's been fun, been a blast. If I didn't get to your comments, I'm sorry. Hit me up on Instagram or something if you really wanted something, if you really wanted me to talk about something, and I'll see if I can answer you on there. All right, guys. Until next time, like I always say, guys, good luck in your investing, and I'll see you later.